Hey guys, welcome to People I Think Are Cool. I'm your host, Liz Reed, one part of the art duo Cuddles and Rage, and this is my podcast where I be cool, interesting, creative people. Today on the show, we have me, because it's a Lizzie special. I'm just going into like autopilot. It is a Lizzie special. And in this Lizzie special, I wanted to kind of share my experience about getting back into creating. As I've shared in previous Lizzie specials, I've been going through a bit of a 3-year depression. Multiple things happened that kind of put me in that, outside the pandemic. Like my dog died, pandemic, heavily isolated here because of, our household. And then my cat died a year ago, and that I had her for 19 years. So that just really put me in a bad spot. But so I've been getting help with that, and this past 2 weeks I took a genuine 2-week break of not worrying about anything, not stressing, just trying to get organized, and that really helped me get back on a path and helped me realize a few things that I need to let go of in order to create. So I just kind of wanted to share some of those things with you. And this isn't just like a realization over 2 weeks and I'm like, hey, I learned things over 2 weeks and here's what you should do. It's kind of been over this whole 3-year process of really stepping back for a bit. I think that whenever you take time away like that for an extended period of time, whether it be like a month for some people or for me a couple years, yes, I've been doing shows and creating during that, but it hadn't been at the same pace of like what I need to be doing or would like to be doing. So what I've learned from that is, first of all, just to obviously not be so hard on yourself, but when you're getting back into things, really just celebrate each step of the way. And for me today, that was just going on Instagram Live for 5 minutes. I didn't have a plan. I just wanted to make myself go on there and just talk and get used to doing that every Tuesday, because that was something that I did. Every Tuesday, I would do like a little workshop tutorial on something that I was sculpting and would sculpt live and, talk with people and have that experience. So I think that, when you step away from something, going back to it, you can have a lot of anxiety or self-doubt before feeling like comfortable going back and doing that again. I don't think it's necessarily like riding a bike. So to me, I think just taking one step forward in the direction of something that you want to be doing that you did before, that's enough. You don't have to go like full blown doing things the way that they were before. Not to get all corporate on you, but I think that's where, even in a corporation or even working for yourself, I think that's where people really need to let go. It's hard to realize that what you did in the past isn't going to work for you now. And that's kind of where I'm at in this moment. What I do today is going to be different than what I did before. And that leads me to my next point, which is don't let the technical stuff slow you down. I have a background in film and digital media, so that means that even though you might not be able to tell in all videos, for me, I was like, I gotta have my 3-point lighting system. Whenever I'm editing audio, especially being female, you get like a lot of sibilance, which is like the hissing noise. Okay, I gotta go and audition and, edit that out. Okay, well, if you edit it out too much, then you might get some distortion or it might get a bit muddled. So then let's spend an hour trying to figure out the best balance for the audio. Okay, I need to test that out on my computer headphones, in my car, on my phone, on my AirPods, and then also just like on my speakerphone. It can go into like all these areas that are really unnecessary, because all it comes down to, oh, and also like I would pull out my whole DSLR, which is like a whole nother thing, and then I'd transition to my phone. But really what it comes down to is, okay, I'm gonna have an edit here because I have to let my dog in because she is barking. One moment. And I'm back. She's downstairs eating now. For some reason, at dinner time, she doesn't like to eat alone. Yeah, so talking about the technical stuff. You know, with this podcast, I started off recording with my nice Yeti mic, and, you know, my DSLR, my 3-point lighting system, and then with my microphone, I'd be like, okay, I don't want people to see the microphone, but I want people to be able to listen to it. So kind of like the whole post-production process, like it was still like really thought out. And honestly, it was just a complete taking a toll on me to, you know, okay, everything has to be clean in order for me to handle this. Okay, I need to clean up the, you know, my studio so that everything will look right, and you have to get the right angle, whatever. And then from that, I kind of stepped back and was like, okay, look, I just need to get this done. So I'm just going to use my iPhone, and I don't care if people see the microphone, but I still want my 3-point lighting system, and I record that way. Still very stressful. So now going back into this, I'm just focusing on getting it done, doing something, and not letting the whole setup dictate whether I can do something or not. I did get a GoPro, which I think is easier, and I got that so that it would be easier for me to record my tutorials without having to pull out the whole setup. And I think that's helped a lot. And, you know, like right now, like I just like turned on the GoPro. I'm just using the GoPro mic. I'm sure it doesn't sound the same. We just recently like changed our background so that Jimmy had more room for his vinyl. I don't know if you can see it or not. Maybe you can, but my very first vinyl was Beauty and the Beast with Ron Perlman. Amazing show. I actually have a novelization of that show as well. But just kind of, it doesn't matter where you are. Like I started recording this upstairs in my kitchen until my my SD card was full. I was like, okay. But just set up and go. If you think about people that you watch on YouTube or podcasts that you listen to. Yes, there are some podcasts that you would turn off because the audio is horrendous and it's really annoying. But there are also some podcasts where the information is so great that, you know, you can really see through that, or you really like the personality of somebody. Same thing with video, where, you know, the background might look junky. They might not have like professional lighting behind them. But it doesn't matter. You love their personality. You love like whatever BS they're going through, and you're there with them. You're just like, you know, Jimmy and I watch a lot of like a lot of Blu-ray videos, and you know, there are some people's YouTubes where like, oh man, it is heavy, the collecting process, and you know, they're not even talking about collecting Blu-rays. They're just talking about the emotion behind that. That is just as compelling as somebody, you know, who is in a studio with beautiful lighting. You know, they got a pop of color in the background. You're like, ooh, how'd they get that color? You know, this person is just like sitting in front of their, you know, shelf with their Blu-rays, and, you know, every week or every couple of days, we're like, we gotta check in on our person. How are they doing? You know, is their crisis the same as my crisis? So that's really all that matters, is just putting yourself out there, being genuine, and kind of just getting past the nerves. I think you can see people, you know, at the start of their podcast, at the start of their YouTube, at the start of their writing career, and you can tell that, you know, there is a little bit of fear and intimidation that goes behind it, but then over time, you know, they get over it. And I think the same thing applies to taking a long break and then stepping back into it. Yeah, there is anxiety over recording myself, and yeah, I'm totally superficial. I'm like, am I wearing the right shirt? Do I have enough makeup on? And honestly, like that was a huge part of me not sitting down and recording, to be like, oh, well, I didn't wash my hair today. And you know, maybe that's I think that's a legit reason, but it's also kind of a little bit superficial to really put that kind of pressure on yourself to aesthetically have to look a certain way. I think it's really great that some people can pull off a look. I don't think I've ever been one of those people who really cares that much about fashion. But you know, for some reason, when you put yourself in front of a camera, you become like very paranoid about everything. So, you know, my goal here is just to like let that go. I did record this once and my hair wasn't brushed and the camera crapped out on me. So I was like, okay, maybe now's my chance to brush my hair. So have your own limits, but don't be so hard on yourself is the message from that. And I think, you know, on the last note that I just want to leave on is to, you know, we always want to go into something with a plan. I'm not much of a planner, and I think that's been to my detriment. Kind of dealing with, I know I'm somebody that gets distracted. TMI, my therapist is like, I think you have ADHD. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm sure that doesn't help with planning. But I think, you know, for me, I would spend a lot of time procrastinating through feeling like, oh, I have to educate myself further, or I have to have a plan before I do this. Ooh, I have to schedule it out. And those things just never happen, so therefore nothing happens. So just accept that you might not have a plan. Accept that you've learned enough about what you're trying to learn, whether it's like, I want to be an amazing writer, I want to learn how to work my camera, I want to do all this research on, you know, the topic that I'm talking about. Accept that you're in a good enough spot to just go ahead and just start the work. I think that's something that, you know, it takes a little bit of confidence to do. I think that's a way for us to shell our stuff, to feel protected, to think that there's one thing missing before I can do that. I know, especially for me, it's a plan. I think part of that comes from like Jimmy being like such a planner. Like that is like really, really important to him. And for me, you know, I'm somebody who like wants to wake up and be like, what are we doing today? Total opposite of that. And that comes a bit to my work ethic. And, you know, like I said, I think that's something I need to work on. But for this time, for this podcast, for my art in this moment, I am just celebrating doing something. And, you know, that's where I'm at. And I think that for people who are in the same position, it's okay to be in that place too. You know, just decide that you have done enough and now it's time to create. You know, when I first started drawing again, I felt like my hand was broken. I always feel that way when I haven't done something in a while. It's like, ooh, can I even draw a circle? You're gonna feel that way until you keep doing it again and again. And eventually that feeling will go away. And everything will get easier. So I just wanted to hop in and kind of share where I'm at right now. And, you know, I think that I might take like 2 steps back, but I'm just gonna remind myself to keep it simple. Don't put that much pressure on yourself and just try and do a little something. It's not going to be perfect. I have no idea how this shot is framed because I really haven't used my GoPro that much. I have no idea what the audio is going to sound like because I really only used it to, ooh, somebody's at my door. I got a package. Yay. Maybe that's what my therapist means by ADHD. Although my friend, my hairstylist tells me that it presents differently in women than it does in men. Anyway, will I dig into that more? I don't know. I'll leave that to the therapist. But, yeah, I'm just gonna take, if you go 2 steps behind, just keep starting over. Hey man, just like old school NES games, when there wasn't a save point, you would just keep starting over. Okay, and that was kind of insane. If you really think about those old games, like, that was insane that you would have to start from the very beginning and do it all over again unless you had like a game genie or a cheat code. My mom would never let us have a game genie because so that was cheating. But I think she really just didn't want to spend the money to give us a game genie. But, you know, going back to that little kid in you, because if you love something so much, you know, then you're going to start over and keep doing it. And I don't think that Starting over means that you weren't good at what you did, means that you need to change your career path. You just have to find that thing that connected you with it in the first place and go from there. Like, I know with this podcast, every time I sit down with somebody and I have a conversation, I walk away rejuvenated. I don't even in interviews where I think the person's being a bit of a jerk. Yes, there are people on this podcast I've interviewed where I think they're being a bit of a jerk. I still walk away feeling inspired. Those are usually interviews where, like, I haven't asked them, but they've reached out to me to be on the show, and so it's a little bit different. And now to the point that I really don't accept that anymore. Set your boundaries. But yeah, just remember why you started something in the first place, and I think that's enough that will help you move forward. And you don't have to, be at that save point and, start at level 5. You can go ahead and just start at level 1, and who gives a shit? Like, you're doing something, and that's to be celebrated. So, do I have a movie for this today? I don't know. I've been watching Steven Seagal movies. He's a total jerk, but his movies are amazing to go back and rewatch at how bad he is at acting, or to go look at his SNL skits where he took it really seriously and they basically didn't allow them to make any jokes where they poked fun at him. Go check that out. So yes, if you are open to seeing a very sexist 90s actor act poorly, and I am so bad at, like, being a feminist. Sometimes people always tell me, they're like, I don't know, like, what movies you love to watch. Sometimes I like to watch movies, like, especially in the 90s, where people are so blatantly sexist, it's just funny. I guess because that nobody could I'm sure people get away with it now, but it's so wrong, it's just hilarious. I think that's kind of why I liked it. Anyways, so yeah, maybe go watch a good Steven Seagal movie. Do those exist? You know what? Fine, go watch No Brain. That's my comfort food. and I do have a Blu-ray of his where it's worth some crazy amount of money. That's what I love, is that you can have an independent creator like No Brain have a Blu-ray come out, and it can be worth so much more money than, like, some Martin Scorsese Blu-ray, probably because it's more rare, but I think it's just still really fascinating. All right, until I move on to another topic, I will say have a good week, and somebody's calling me, so I guess I better go. Bye. Oh, wait, what's my line? Stay cool. Yeah. Do what you gotta do to get things going.